Hello, good evening. Is anybody out there? Is anybody out there? How's it going, folks? Welcome to the David Paisano Show. Yeah, that's right, I'm back. I'm back. Couldn't stay away. I couldn't stay away. But I'm not going to talk about Forrest Fenn. I think I beat that horse to death. So I think I'm going to talk about Chad Bird's treasure hunt tonight. That's right. I've moved on. I'm now taking on new treasure hunts, trying to get excited about something else to work on. And you're lucky I'm here tonight because I was going to be boots on the ground for the Chad Bird Trezor treasure hunt. Now, in case you're just tuning in or haven't heard of the Trezor treasure hunt, this is a treasure hunt that this guy, Chad Bird, started. And he's a guy that was kind of interested in video games, and his treasure hunt has a kind of a video game vibe to it, if you will. It's also a treasure hunt that has become what I call an interactive treasure hunt. In other words, it keeps changing. Now, I'm not going to say that Forrest Fenn changed the location of where his treasure was hidden, but I am going to say that Chad Bird has officially changed the location where his treasure was hidden because it was getting too easy to solve. It was getting way too easy to solve. All right, I'm going to do a brief backstory on this treasure hunt, and it's been going on for a while now. So let me try to share my screen. That's right, folks. I am going to share my screen and start with the Trezor.Quest. Okay, here we go. So, without getting into a terrible amount of detail about this, I'm going to start with the location riddle. As we learned to play hide and seek, there were places not meant for the meek, but rest assured I can be found just sitting on mostly level ground. I am a rock living with many friends, near rows of vents that mark a quiet end. As formations bend and weave, I sit near water that moves beneath the leaves. You'll pass me by the cast for fins, where dammed up silence hums within. Not born of time, but built by men, a river stopped, then spread again. You can speak of Paris as if it was near, where Pat Mays sometimes shines calm and clear. I may lie near his streams, yet the closer you look, the further I may be. I won't be easy to find. There isn't much within this rhyme. It may be that you'll need all the keys. Out I will wait until you can find me. Now, the keys in this treasure hunt are things that are going to be released at the 5 year anniversary of this guy's birth, at the 4 year anniversary of this guy's birth, at the 3 year anniversary of this guy's birth, and at the 2 year anniversary, and then finally at the 1 year. And so, if you add all this up, this could easily last what, 5 plus 4 plus 3? That's what, +2 + 1, 15 years, right? Did I do the math right? I did go to public school. But so a number of people have spent time, money, and effort looking for this treasure in Paris, Texas, in Lamar County. Based upon this location riddle, you can speak of Paris as if it was near. Now, he does say as if it was near, so maybe it's not even near at all. Where Pat Mays sometimes shines calm and clear. I may lie near his streams, yet the closer you look, the further I may be. Okay, so there is a lake in Texas near Paris called the Pat Mays. Pat Mays was also involved in getting uh, a water treatment plant created for the city of Paris. And there are very few other relevant mentions of this Pat Mays, which Pat's a female, by the way. Uh, and so uh, this is the location riddle. This is supposed to tell you where this treasure is located, right? And then he's saying at the end, you may have to wait until 15 years until he releases all these keys to actually find it. So I ask, is this really fair? Well, I don't know. Let's look. We're going to stop sharing that, and we are going to share something else. Let's look at the updated website. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this seems to be an interactive treasure hunt. And the reason I say that is that if you go to Trezor.Quest now, this is the current web page that you get. And there's been a few side quests that have been solved, and there's been some other activity in this treasure hunt where people have gotten some prizes, right? But if you go to the current state of the treasure hunt, you get this page. And this page is called the Trezor.Quest. This is the page that comes up. And there's this little icon with a Q and a T in the middle of it. All right. Kind of looks like a bullseye, if you will. Okay. The Trezlorians, the veil thickens. Have you borne witness? Have you learned? Know that the sovereign watches and learns in return. So now here's the new poem. Again, adding more information. I don't know why. Take the time to reflect on what you need to collect as you wait on the doorway to draw nearer. It will stand ahead where breath turns to mist, and the Trezor.Quest world holds its tongue. Its frame may not be older than your names, but its silence has carved from a child's echo. When the doorway comes fully into view, your hands will only be of use in the knowing, as it has tasted false courage, heard 1,000 empty vows, felt the shoves and complaints of the weak-minded, and yet it has never yielded. But it stirs for those who come changed, for those who carried lessons like lanterns, and let them burn away the easy answers. What you need to learn was given to you. It was you who uncovered truth. And what you rolled over becomes the only language this threshold understands. So let your mind throw off its cloak. Hold your fear like a candle that does not spill. And when times come for the true riddle to grab hold, you will need to lay it with force. For you are not speaking to the door, rather, you're summoning the realm behind it, which holds even more pathways to your gift. The lock is listening, and the key is becoming, while the hinge is hidden in the space between what you were and what you are now. Step swiftly, young hero, and gather all that was built before, as you will need it when you enter the door. And this is where we go into a rendition of The Doors. Any song, pick a song, let's play it out loud. But my point is that we have now changed the treasure hunt. We started out with a location poem, and now we've moved to this world of needing a door to enter. And people have looked at this T and this Q and tried to come up with some things that it might mean. But let me just say that you now have this. So let's get to the next meat of the bones issue. So, based upon the Pat Mays information and what was presented at your very start of your treasure hunt, there were quite a few people. That went and looked for Chadbird's treasure, and they went and looked for his treasure in Paris, Texas, and Lamar County. Okay, so with that information, let's now look at Lamar County on Google Maps. And we now have a picture of Lamar County in Google Maps showing, right? Well, okay. Let's just say, for instance, that you are a treasure hunter and you put a lot of emphasis in this whole idea that Pat Mays was important. Okay. Well, as you can see from the map, there is a Pat Mays Lake, right? And a lot of people, and this outline here is Lamar County, and that's Paris in the middle. There are a lot of people that went and looked for this treasure already around the Pat Mays Lake. But was that really where you were supposed to look? Well, maybe, maybe not. I actually think that the Pat Mays information, because you're looking for Bigfoot. It says that you are Bigfoot hunters. Well, let's just look at the shape of Lake Crook, if you will, for a minute. If you take a look at the shape of Lake Crook, you have basically Bigfoot. That's Bigfoot. You're Bigfoot hunters. And he said all along that you're looking for Bigfoot. There it is. Lake Crook. It's in the shape of Bigfoot. It's in the middle of Lamar County, right? You can't deny that the shape of Lake Crook looks like Bigfoot. You can't deny that Paris is in this. Now, let's look at the Maxi Rifle Club that is located right here, okay? Now, if you look at the Trezor.Quest logo, the actual logo that he has put on his website for Trezor.Quest, it looks like a target. It actually looks like a target, if you will. And I think he has put out a color palette that also has a certain color scheme involved with it. And he says that the geode, which is what you're actually looking for, is a rock, has an orange center. Well, if I remember target practice correctly, and if I remember my gun correctly, if you're shooting a clay pigeon target, it has an orange center and it's made of clay. This would get you to the Maxi Rifleman Gun Club, right? So let's just start keying in on this Lamar County Road 32500. And you have this Little Pine Creek and you have this Lamar County Road, if you will, right? And if you keep going down this road, you will get to a place that is called Archers for Christ. Now, the Archers for Christ is actually a a place where you can do rifle, or not rifle. You can actually shoot. It's a club for archers. Now let's also go back and look at VINs. What are VINs? So in this little poem, he mentioned VINs and fins. Well, VINs and fins actually occur at the place that's called the Archers for Christ. And if you go and find the Archers for Christ on the map, it's right here at Lamar County Road 32500 by the Maxey Gun Club. Now, if you went ahead and did a street view of this, you will find that you're going to have the Maxey Gun Club right here, okay? And then right up the road, you're going to have the Archers for Christ. And once you get to the Archers for Christ, you'll see that there's a little pullout along the side of the road. And I think this little pullout is basically the place where the geode was going to be hidden, but Chad Bird gave away too many clues to his treasure hunt, and thus he had to change his treasure hunt. So if you go up here to the Archers for Christ, which is this little area right here behind these trees, and so you have this fins and VINs, and this gate right here would take you into the Archers, the Paris Archery Club, right there. And I think he was going to hide the geode somewhere in this area, because right up here is the fins. You can actually see the water right over here underneath these trees. And so the water comes up right near the archery club. Okay, so if this does not give you enough information, and if this does not pique your interest, let's look at the actual logo for the Archers for Christ. So here we're going to go to a Facebook page. Hold on, let me share screen. Got to go back, live streaming. Share screen. Let's look at the Facebook for the club. So let's just look at the Archers for Christ. Let's just look at the Archers for Christ, Paris, Texas. Now you see how they have two concentric circles and a cross in the middle? They have two concentric circles and they have a dot right here, right? And there's the fins right here. Let me get over here. The fins are actually right here. That's the fins. That's the VINs. The VINs. And the treasure, have you looked at Chad Bird's Trezor.Quest logo? His Trezor.Quest logo has these circles on it, and then it has this T in it, right? It has this T in it, and it has this arrowhead in the middle, right? So what I'm saying is that Chad Bird was going to hide his treasure, his geode, somewhere next to this Archers for Christ Archery Club in Paris, Texas. Because there's the cross that's on his there's the cross that's on his Trezor.Quest. There's the little entryway, and there's the circle. The Archers for Christ logo is so similar to Chad Bird's giveaway item at TreasureCon. Now here's the problem. Here's the problem, folks. You had to be an exclusive member of the club. You had to be an exclusive member of the club that went to TreasureCon to get the following information. And I would have been boots on the ground recovering Chad Bird's item this week. at that archery club because it matches the frickin' logo, the Trezor.Quest logo, and it matches the plastic piece that he handed out at TreasureCon. But when he went to TreasureCon, he did rock, paper, scissors with Justin Posey, and he said that the treasure is not hidden in Lamar County. He said the treasure is not hidden in Lamar County. And I followed up and asked him the question, do you mean Lamar County, Texas? Or do you just mean Lamar County, as in Lamar County, North Carolina? Or some other Lamar County across the country? And in the Big Brains Discord, he came in and answered my question and said, the treasure is not located in Lamar County, Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached that moment that Forrest Fenn had in his treasure hunt. And that moment is, I'm going to move my fucking treasure because somebody is too close to finding it. And somebody has figured out too many of the clues. Somebody has figured out too many of the clues. And that's me. That is me. I figured out the Archers for Christ. I figured out that Crook Lake looks like Bigfoot. And I figured out his little giveaway that he gave away at TreasureCon and what it was and what it meant. Does this mean that I'm now further ahead of everybody and looking for Chad Bird's treasure? Absolutely not. Because he is moving it. He was had. He was found out. His treasure hunt was going to last 6 months. And we were going to zero in on that Archers for Christ location. And we were going to find the treasure. And his treasure hunt was going to last 6 months. And now he eliminated Paris, Texas, and Lamar County. He has now officially moved his treasure. All of us that had found his treasure in Lamar County, all of us who had worked for 6 months to locate his treasure, listened to all of his dribble, listened to all of his interviews, listened to him we kept listening to him narrowing down the area. And he kept narrowing it down till it was so obvious that anybody could have found it. And the minute I started my online search to find this, he decided to move the location. And I don't know what that tells us. Is this a legitimate treasure hunt? Is this a legitimate treasure hunt? You give us information about Pat Mays. You give us information about Paris. You say that you said, Chad Bird, somebody asked you in an interview if the geode was closer to Paris or closer to Pat Mays Lake. And you said that it was closer to Paris. If this is the case, you can now eliminate anything on that map that's north of Pat Mays Lake. Across the state of Texas. So, what are you going to be left with? What are you now left with if he is willing to, if he said that it was closer to Paris than it was closer to Pat Mays Lake? Because on a map, these two places are nearly in the same latitude. And so for it to be closer to Paris, it's going to have to be on an angle, very, very like 1 degree angle heading off to the north and west. So I'm just saying that if you are planning on rehiding this anywhere, if you're planning on rehiding this anywhere north of Pat Mays Lake, you have put yourself in a corner, buddy. By all these statements that you've made earlier, you've now put yourself in a corner. This is like the same day that Forrest Finn said that it was somewhere like so many degrees longitude or latitude from some place in Lake Ohio, Toledo. It was so many declinations from Toledo. So I'm just saying that you can move your treasure, right? But I have recorded, and you have recorded, when you said that it was closer to Paris than it was Pat May's Lake. And you can't go back from that. And you can't go back. You can continue to make these statements if you like about where your treasure, your geode is located. But I'm telling you, you're going to keep making statements that don't match what you've already said. And I've already pointed out that you were going to hide your geode next to the Bigfoot Lake, close to Paris, either behind the sign that introduces you to the Archers for Christ or close to the Archers for Christ location. Now, there's a sign on 32500 that gives a direction to get to the Archers for Christ, and it could have been hidden behind that sign at that corner, which would have been a little bit far from the water in order to meet the criteria of being able to throw a rock into the water. But I guarantee you, where the Archers for Christ facility is, you could meet the Finns, you can meet the Vins, you can meet the Pat Mace criteria, you can meet the Paris criteria, and you can meet the longitude and latitude criteria in your treasure hunt. And it all matched up. Why you chose to move your treasure and tell us that it's not in Lamar County and do that in Las Vegas. Here's what makes me the maddest of all about this whole entire thing is that I would have spent serious money. I would have spent serious money this week on a hotel, on travel to Texas. I would have stayed there for 4 or 5 days around Paris looking for this had I not found out through the grapevine that you did some rock, paper, scissors bullshit out in Las Vegas and gave out an exclusive clue to people that were at the Treasure Con. And if it wasn't for me being in a Discord channel and finding out about this elimination of Lamar County bullshit, I would have been at that spot looking for the last 4 days. I would have been posting vociferously. What is the word I'm looking for? Ferociously? Is ferociously a word? I would have been posting ferociously about the fact that I knew what your veins were, that it were veins on an arrow, and I would have been posting about how your fucking Trezor.Quest little plastic thing that you gave everybody is basically a target that looks like the Archers for Christ logo, and what you have on top of it is the end of a hunting arrow. And a hunting arrow is generally not an Indian-shaped arrowhead. It is either a multi-veined arrow or it's a single plain arrow with a notch and a hook in it to do the most damage you can to an animal. Heart, lung, whatever. So the animal dies in place. So again, most people are not a polymath. And most people don't have a wide range of knowledge about archery tips, lakes that look like Bigfoot. And I'm sorry, but you're had. You're basically had. You are had. You changed your search area. You changed your search area because somebody found it. And if it wasn't going to be me, it would have been somebody within the next month. Because as soon as I would have got on Discord and talked about my search, which I always do videos of my search, somebody would have said, that guy's right. and I've got more time to spin boots on the ground than that guy, and I will look and look and look and look and find it, whereas that guy gave up on it and went home. But anyway, so that's my 30-minute presentation on the moving target. It's a target. Look at your color palette. It's a fucking target. Look at the Trezor.Quest logo. Look at the Archers for Christ logo. The guy decided to move his treasure because he didn't want it found for 15 years. Thanks for joining in the chat. I see the Whistling Bunghole is here. MJ's here. Trust the Living. Trusted says, I just have a synoptic mind known as a pattern weaver. Yes, the pattern weaving. Well, I'm not going to make this any longer. That's my 31-minute presentation on Chad Bird's treasure hunt. You've been had, Chad. You tried to move your treasure, but you said too many things. And now your crew is going to have to explain away everything you said in the big brains. I already had one person say, oh, well, you should have already eliminated Paris and Lamar County because he gave this number clue about 1638 or whatever. You guys interpreted that wrong. It's not a road over in, that's not even a road that goes in the right direction. You're trying to use a road that goes east and west, and you tried to explain to me the other day when I talked to you on the big brains, you tried to say, oh, well, you should know it's already west of that line. That's not a north-south road, dude. That's an east-west road. You can't use a 5-mile east-west road to set a parameter for anything that's going to be either east or west of that road. Maybe north and south, but not east and west. It's a 5-mile road. Sorry, you got that wrong. All right, folks. So here's the question. I can edit the end of this video and chop this off. Any hanging chads? We want a hanging chad. Do you guys want me to go live again? Or I guess I can just go edit out. If I edit out everything from here on out, I guess we can just have a normal bullshit session at the end of the show. Okay, let me just say this. For those of you who are tuning in for Chad Bird content and the solve for Chad Bird's treasure hunt and the fact that he's moving it and that he's been had, that content ends now. So now we're going to start the regular bullshit session on the David Paisano show. And we'll do that by looking at and see if we can establish a top 5. All right, the Stick Divine was number 1, Trusted Living number 2, Spark Plug number 3. The Whistling Bunghole claims the 4th spot. MJ comes in at number 5. And that looks like it. That looks like we have a top 5 tonight. How's it hanging, Chad? Well, the funny thing is I actually have one of my in-laws is named Chad. The guy that works on our equipment, shop manager's name is Chad. Chad must have been a popular name about 45 to 50 years ago. The Bunghole's not number 2. That's pretty funny. And there's Kiwi. Good to see you, Kiwi. Haven't seen you for a bit. And it's Happy Knights Templar Day. Well, for all those people that are single out there and are looking for a date on Valentine's Day, you got about 4 hours left. You better get cracking on it. Well, you know, I'm basically the relationship expert, so I usually buy my candy on the February 15th. It's usually marked down some. Kiwi's been working on the Project Cosmos propulsion for the future. Magnets. I think it's 100% magnets. Zero energy levitation has got to be based upon magnets, in my opinion. Now, how do you and these are going to be some rare earth minerals. We may have not discovered them yet. It might require some alien technology, but I'm just saying that the problem is with supermagnets is scaling. And while the magnets can be used to offset gravity, there's no baseline. I don't know of any baseline magnetism that you can then create a magnetic charge against. In other words, the Earth itself does not have a specific magnetic energy except for gravity in order to create this anti-gravity effect. And while you can take two opposing magnets and create lift, the problem is Earth is not something you can create a magnetic lift from. So the properties of the Earth's surface does not, I think, lend itself to doing that. So I don't know. The other atomic level way of examining the problem is looking at it from a proton, neutron, and electron, where you have the center, and then you have electrons, I believe, circling, and that there's a negative association between protons and electrons. And if you can somehow create that in a petri dish environment, you could get lift from that as well. But Trusted Living is pointing out that the subatomic, the proton neutron version, a pogo stick is an anti-gravity device. Yes. The Eagle 5. Static electricity. The major problem with this is that most potential energy is based upon location versus the gravitational pull of the Earth. In other words, a rock sitting on a ledge is potential energy that would be converted into kinetic energy when it comes to the ground. The problem is reversing that effect. In other words, in the mind of, you have to reverse the effect of potential energy becoming kinetic energy in some way. And that's the force that you have to counteract in order to get a zero-sum propulsion system that allows that to happen. Perhaps this is in the form of static electricity. I don't know. We just launched another rocket ship. We sent some astronauts back to replace the one that came home because they had either a bad ticker or they had a really bad case of the flu. Let's send a 55-year-old person to space and see if they do well. Oh no, we got to launch a rocket up to rescue them because it didn't work out well. Well, so much for that experiment. Oh, sorry, crew members, but I didn't last long enough. I got to go home. All right, we'll spend hundreds of millions of dollars bringing you back from space because you had flatulence or whatever. Oh, hey, whistling bunghole. I wonder if they serve any what are the dinks and dinks and I don't know. You mentioned them earlier. Boy, how do you handle how? I bet you they do not serve beans on the space shuttle or in the space station capsule. Well, what are we going to have for dinner tonight? Well, why don't we have some chili? Why don't we have some chili or some good beans? So, hey, trusted living. Trusted living. What are stinks and dinks? Or anybody else in the room? What are stinks and dinks? Yeah, let's see if anybody else. Do they remove the water weight? I don't know. Well, Kiwi brings up a good point. How, if you look at a waterfall, you have water and it comes down to earth because of gravity. If there was any way in which you could reverse uh, the effect of water and move it in an opposite direction, and we've all seen these propulsion devices where the guy straps on a jet suit and he's got this big old hose, and the big old hose sucks water out of the ocean, and then he's able to propel himself up because of the water coming out of the big hose. Oh, Trust the Living has given us an answer to stinks and dinks. These are the participants at TreasureCon. Okay. um. So the other possible attempt at being able to translocate has already been successfully tested on the spaceship Enterprise and not Bones or whatever his name, McCoy or anyway, teleportation. Teleportation would be the other anti-gravity methodology in order to translocate a being. And so if you want to look into what Star Trek did with taking the person and put them in a teleporter and then relocating them, that would be the other potential way. I've got just one other, and it seems like Lindsay Wagner. Lindsay Wagner, back in the late 70s, early 80s, when she was playing the role of Bionic Woman, and Linda Carter, in her role as Wonder Woman, have been able to solve this problem and seemingly been able to jump uh, in these great bounds in an anti-gravity type of environment. Um, the other potential way, and this is already being done in order for propulsion, is obviously the jet engine, right? Where you use the force of inducted air, concentrated, allowing lift, if you will. Um, Unfortunately, with an airplane, the lift is in an airplane scenario, the lift is required. The way in which lift is generated is because you have to have a greater force between the ground and the wing than there is above the wing and above. And so the way in which an airplane flies is that the pressure between the bottom of the wing has to be greater than the pressure above, thereby creating lift. But the way that is accomplished is by reaching a certain speed and creating enough energy underneath the wing in order to give it lift. So if you're trying to do this in an environment where you are just vertically lifting, it's impossible. And the only aircraft that's able to accomplish this is either the military craft that has the engines that are basically pointing downwards. I don't remember if this is a Corsair. I don't know the name of this craft, but it then pivots and becomes an aircraft. So it can accomplish a vertical liftoff via jet engine and then fly in this direction. Of course, we all know about helicopters. The force of a rotor blade creating more energy below than above, thereby Harrier. That's right. Kiwi, do you remember? Do you remember when you could get Pepsi points? Do you guys remember when you could accumulate Pepsi points, and if you got enough Pepsi points, you could turn them in for a Harrier because it was in the TV ad. It wasn't in the official. It wasn't in the official catalog, but they featured an advertisement where somebody was going to school in this aircraft. Somebody actually bought enough Pepsi points in order, because in the advertisement they said that you needed a certain number of Pepsi points. And the guy figured out that if he got the aircraft, he could sell it for 3 times what the advertisement required you to turn in Pepsi points. So he found a way in which you could buy Pepsi points. And he sent them all of his Pepsi points and asked for his Harrier, his aircraft. Well, of course, Pepsi didn't want to pay it out. It went into litigation. And in the end, the court ruled that a commercial advertisement could not be construed as an offer to be able to buy a Harrier jet. So he lost. I think they might have sent him a 6-pack of Diet Coke as a consolation prize. Kind of like the people that sued Forrest Fenn. They ended up getting, a stipend against them, a judgment for lawyer fees. Well, what else do we have? Anything else? Next week, I'm going to talk about John Collins Black. And I'm going to go through his treasure. Next week's show will be all the treasure boxes of John Collins Black treasure hunt solved in one show. You don't want to miss that one. And I'm going to include inside information on the man himself. Trust a Living says, I won a television from getting the TV symbol under the cap of a bottle of Pepsi when I was a teenager. I swapped it for a bag of weed. Well, I think Trust a Living was collecting Pepsi points because they did. Does everybody remember when McDonald's had their contest where you peeled off the little label, and everybody could get like their bingo card filled to win prizes? I think it was called Monopoly. I think it was called Monopoly, McDonald's. But anyway, everybody could get all of the puzzle filled out except for the one piece. Hey, I didn't show up because I thought you were taking a break. I'm late. Yeah, we're not talking about Forrest Fenn. I'm taking a break from that whole drama scene. This week I was looking for a treasure hunt to participate in, and so I took on the Trezor.Quest and found out that the guy moved it. He was giving out too much information. Well, there's old Sweet Pea. If this is the same Sweet Pea that's in the Discord, Big Brains, enjoyed visiting with you the other day. That was pretty fun. Had a conversation about the Trezor. You'll want to tune in for the first part of this show. But anyway, until this guy comes out publicly and makes another statement about his treasure hunt, I think I'm done with it. I think I'm done with the Trezor. I think the guy moved his prize because people are getting too close to it. And he did it at TreasureCon, which kind of made me mad because I didn't go to TreasureCon. I got to decide whether I want to go to Tucson. You're a different Sweet Pea? Oh, okay. Somebody uses that handle on Discord. Believe it or not, somebody uses that handle on Discord too. But anyway, yeah. Trusted must have me blocked. I can't see his comments. Yeah, people, I went in. Some people claim that I have them blocked on this show. I don't have anybody blocked on this show. And I went in and I searched my settings for YouTube, and I had a couple of bots that I had blocked, I don't know, 6 months ago or a year ago, and I even let them back in because it was like, Chinese laundry service and XXXOOO Jasmine or something like that, and I even let them come back in. Okay. Well, I've got another 9 minutes to fulfill the forest den. Well, I finally got my eternal resting place figured out at the Gypsum Hills Cemetery. And I've been research. Okay, so I'm kind of weird, right? And now that I bought my funeral plot and I know where I'm going to be buried, I've been researching my neighbors. Is this just dumb or what? So my neighbors are all in Block 9. So I've been looking at people in Block 9 at the Gypsum Hill Cemetery. And I found out that I'm buried about, I don't know, 4 or 5 family plots from Walter P. Chrysler's sister. The guy that founded Chrysler Motor Car Company. I'm buried in the same block as his sister. And that's the first one I've looked up to find out. And I only looked it up because I recognized the name Chrysler. Now, don't be shocked. Because Walter P. Chrysler's parents are actually buried in the Gypsum Hill Cemetery too. Okay? But Walter P. Chrysler's sister is in Section 9. Yeah, you could bury a geode at my spot. That's right. I'll just throw it in with me. I haven't quite got my marker figured out yet. What I'm going to put on that, but anyway, so I've been researching people within section in Block 9, and when I saw the Chrysler headstone the other day, it's like I got to find out if this is the Walter P. Chrysler's in-law, and sure enough, it was. So in my immediate neighborhood, I've got Carl Johan Olson. Okay, so Carl Johan, Johan. The reason Carl Johan Olson got the name is because he was living in Sweden. And when his parents decided to name him, there had been a king of Sweden by the name of Carl, Johan. And they thought, well, if they name him Carl Johan Olson, maybe he'll become a king someday. Well, that didn't happen. At least not in Sweden. He moved to the United States. And so I'm actually in like what am I in 12? So I'm in 11. So I'm in 11 in section 11, and Carl Johan, the first Swede that came over in my family, is buried already. Carl and Carolina are buried in the next plot over. So I'm pretty close to the first Swede that came over. I was pretty happy about being able to kind of get in the same location as that. I tried looking in YouTube Studio to see if he was blocked. Can't find the block list. Then again, I don't believe I've blocked anyone yet. No reason to. Yeah. Sweet Pea's asking, there is another Sweet Pea? Yeah, I'm pretty sure in Discord. You want to turn it? You want to turn my spot into a sandlot? People still put themselves in a wooden box and a hole in the ground. Well, I'm just, I may actually get cremated, but I haven't decided yet whether I want the full box, the full hole, the whole thing. But if you want to have a marker somewhere on the planet Earth, you have to buy a plot or a cenotaph location. You have to buy a place to either put a marker, you can spread your ashes wherever you want. But if you want to have a marker somewhere, you still have to buy a plot. If you don't want a marker, then hey, no problems. I don't think most of these boxes are wooden anymore. I imagine the funeral home people have outlawed that. Well, I got one more beer. Should I open it? Should I open it or put it away? We can bury geodes and then take them back with no evidence of removal. LOL. That's right. What a better way to put a treasure out there than in the form of a rock. When in Rome, do what the Athenians do. That was pretty deep. You have to think it through. Rome, Athens, Athenians, Greek. Oh, sorry. That was Sweet Pea's voting for another beer. Well, I'll open it. I don't know if I'll finish it. I've almost fulfilled my commitment to Chad Bird Inc. I'm now working for Bird Incorporated. Okay, since I mentioned the Discord, I'll share the Discord. All right, so we're now sharing the Discord channel, and this is the Trezor.Quest Big Brains, and you can come down here if you join the hunt. You can come down here and you can do a Kaka chill zone, and this is where the actual treasure hunt creator might come in and talk to you live on Discord with nobody else watching, right? And see, here's the Trezor.Quest logo. See this? See, that's the Trezor.Quest logo? I'm circling it now. Does that not look like the Archers for Christ? Does that not look like the Archers for Christ? But anyway, this is where people discuss this. And if here's the Ben Napple, and this is where you can waste. I wasted a lot of time for 3 months over here at the Ben Napple site. If you want to subscribe to this site, and this site is called Forest Fen Real Talk. So you're now looking at the Forest Fen Real Talk Discord channel, and that's my channel. And I wrote some scathing shit here. I was really pissed off that day last week. I probably should delete all this, but anyway, if you subscribe to the channel, or maybe I have to give you an invite. But anyway, this is Real Conversations About Forest Fen. It's David Paisano's channel, and if you click on this, here's Sweet Pea. Sweet Pea, look, Sweet Pea. Sweet Pea, are you looking? Look, see, there's a Sweet Pea on Discord. See, look, There's a Sweet Pea on Discord. Should I invite? This is not you, Sweet Pea. Well, anyway, if you have a Discord and you want to join me on my Discord, I will invite you. And I guess we could have if people want to talk. If people want to talk, I don't know if this works, but I think if I put this link up, and I think if you click on this link, we could then move this conversation to a talk channel. Let's see what happens. I launched that. It says accept invite. And I'm opening the Discord app now. Well, so anyway, I think I have a stream going there, but I'm not real sure. See, now you have two Sweet Peas. See, Sweet Peas over here. Anyway, so I guess that's the invitation link there. So yeah, there you go. So anyway, I think I just successfully created a Discord real talk session that I'm not a member of. I can invite all these people to this guy Tobiah. There's Chad Bird right there. Maybe I should invite him to real talk. But anyway, I can invite all these people to real talk. Yay! There you go. And do I really have a talk session going? I think I'm live over there. Yeah, I'm there. All right. Well, there you go. Okay, I'm going to close my Facebook tab. I'm going to close my Trezor.Quest, my Lamar, free up some bandwidth. All right. Well, anyway, so what happened to Ben? Did he take a vow of silence? Well, let's go to his Discord channel and see. Nope, there he is. There's Ben's channel. Right there. I just quit going over there and posting. I just quit posting over on his channel. Yeah, so I don't know if you click on that link, if you'll you can create your own server if you want. There's a link for that. I'm learning with you right now. Yeah. So anyway, I'm learning with everybody else. Uh, looks awful dark. I entered the black hole. Yeah, sometimes that happens. My screen doesn't share. It just turns black. My screen turns into John Collins black. You gotta be careful of the wormholes out there. Wormholes will get you. Well, I opened that beer. Does anybody else have anything they want to talk about? I already answered the Ben question. I mean, his Discord's still there. Uh, he might have taken a vow of silence because Shiloh never gave him any fun and answers, and he kept advertising fun and answers, and we got a Finbury or a Benbury. Yeah, I don't. I it's a 16-hour drive to Tucson. Has this ever happened to you? Seriously. So I went in to see what the airfares were from Salina, Kansas to Tucson, Arizona. I found a round trip flight for like $350. And I'm thinking, I'm going to Tucson, one layover in Denver. And I'm thinking, I can stay for 4 days if it's only $300. I can get a car. I can drive all the way up to uh, Phoenix. I can go look at some museums. I can go look at a big hole in the ground. I can do some exploring, go on like a 4-day trip, and my flight would only be $300, and I'd get a rental car, right? Then I went in and I clicked on Searcher Summit, and I clicked on the dates, and I started looking at the dates for Searcher Summit. When I went back to the airline quote thingamajiggy, it had raised all the prices by $250. Do these companies have the ability to hook into your search history that tight so that when you figure out when you're actually going to travel, that they immediately raise the prices on the flights that would get you to the event you want to go to? Is it gotten that bad that the cookies that these people use can actually raise the price of a flight based upon your search results on your computer? 100%. 100%. That's right. They have these web hooks. They have these web hooks that are so tight that when you search on the event you want to go to, it will raise the prices of your flights. I cannot believe how sophisticated some of these modeling programs are about taking your search information, connecting it immediately to the reservation system, and then updating the prices based upon your search history. It was fucking unbelievable. Every flight to Tucson within a 2-week period suddenly went up by $300, $200. Yeah, I'm not doing the Finn thing for a while. I will be back in March and do a Forest Finn show, and invitations will go out to a Searcher Summit, and you can make your own reservation. But I'm not getting into the daily. I'm not getting back into the daily checking of YouTube on Forest Finn, the daily checking of Discord on Forest Finn, the participating in the Discord about Forest Finn, the participating and commenting on YouTube about Forest Finn, because I've expended too much energy doing that, and I refuse to do that anymore. Hey, there's Zozo Rocks. Yeah. So that's my thing on Forest Bend right now. It was too exhausting uh, that I'd been doing that for so long that I just had to get away from it. It was the same people saying the same things over and over again for the last 4 years, and nothing ever changing. And I felt like I was wasting 4 years of my life on that. It got to the point where everything I read felt like somebody was trolling something I'd sent to Forrest Fenn. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, here's a letter I sent to Forrest Fenn. Forrest, I hope this letter finds you well and entertains you on a cold November night. The thrill of the chase has been a wonderful, wonderful experience. From researching remote locations and obscure facts to spending time outdoors enjoying the spectacular views of the Rocky Mountains, canyons, lakes, rivers, and dry creeks. It's been an incredible journey. While researching, I have learned about the history of, and everything in this letter from there on out, somebody has posted something about as if they had a copy of this and they were just fucking with me. So I decided not to be fucked with anymore. Trusted Living found the Trove Ranch. Are you sure it was a ranch? Or was it a casita? I thought you found a casita. A Casa de Gavilan. David, that's a nice letter. See? MJ's doing it right now. How would you know it's a nice letter if you hadn't seen it? Here's some Trusted Living and I think Trusted Living. I think Trusted Living is Rebuild the World. If you're not Rebuild the World Trusted Living, then you're somebody else. I'm driving out to New Mexico. I stop at. That's not the whole letter. It's 2 pages. It's 2 pages. Yeah, that's the first paragraph. It's 2 pages long. Anyway, yeah. So anyway, I'm out driving to New Mexico, and I don't know how I communicated. Thrusters, you're gonna laugh your ass off. You're gonna laugh. If you remember this, you're gonna fucking laugh your ass off. I didn't know very many people in the Forrest Bend treasure hunt back then, right? And I used to comment on people's YouTube channels and on their blogs, and some of these people had actually given out their uh, ability to communicate with them either by text or messenger or something. So I'm sitting in the bathroom at the on the highway between Taos and Eagles Nest. No, I'd already went through Eagles Nest. I was between Taos and Santa Fe at the rest area that's like on the by the Rio Grande River, and there's a bunch of outfitters that you can rent stuff from. And I think that actually is El Dorado, the little creek. So I'm sitting here on the toilet, and I said something like, "Yeah, I'm just about ready to go look at the gorge." And somebody texted back and said, "The Royal Gorge?" And I said, no, the one in New Mexico, below the Taos Junction Bridge. And they texted me back or messaged me and saying, oh, so you're in New Mexico looking for the treasure. And I said, yeah, I'm boots on the ground looking for the treasure. So I was doing that on the toilet at the Visitors Information Center, right there where you go in and drive along the Rio Grande. Eventually, you go across the John Dunn Bridge, and then you can go back up like 456 or something like that's the road name. It's supposedly one of the funkiest roads in New Mexico, where you drive out the canyon, and then you can drive back across the big bridge that goes across the gap in the earth. And I had to get out and look down. But anyway, that's where I was sitting the day that I texted Rebuild the World. Tommy, right? Sweet Pea says, I am very near to there right now. Hey, there's Ian. So anyway, I come out. This is a true story. First time I'm in New Mexico, I texting Tommy from the toilet. I come out of the Visitors Information Center, and I'm driving a Buick LaCrosse. It's black. It's probably a 1-year-old car. It's got 8,000 miles on it. This girl walks up to me, and she says, is this your first time in New Mexico? And I said, yeah, it's my first time in New Mexico. And she says, well, we're camping over here by the Rio Grande. If you want to come join us, you could just come on over. We're going to be making some food. We just got back from camping out in Arizona, and we're on our way back to Vermont or Maine. I can't remember. It was somewhere that it might have been Vermont. I don't know. I think it was Vermont. And she says it's just her and her brother that's camping out, right? That's a good looking gal, about 20 years younger than me. And I'm immediately trying to figure this out. All right, I got an opportunity to go camp down the river with this girl and her mom. Or is there some other people waiting down there for me to show up and I'm alone and nobody's ever going to see me again? I had to figure this out in just a few minutes. So I asked her a little bit about organic. She wanted to talk about farming because I told her I was from a farm. And she wanted to talk about organic farming or something. And so we had about an 8 or 10 minute conversation. She says, well, are you going to come over? And I'm sitting here just thinking to myself, first time in New Mexico, don't know much about the state. I'm at a travel center and I'm being asked to go to a place by a river. So I said no. When I said that I was thinking about getting a hotel, and it was like, oh, you don't want to do that. And I'm thinking, well, why not? I'm thinking of the Bloody Benders about this time. The Bloody Benders were these the first serial killers in Kansas were the Bloody Benders. And they used to invite travelers in for an overnight stay and food. And when they got done with dinner, they whacked them over the head, had a trap door that put them in the basement, and then they buried them in the garden. Bloody Benders. Anyway, so I decided, so I went on further south, and there was this horse and rider along the road, and it caught my attention. And it had a roadside marker, and it talked about San Gabriel and how San Gabriel was actually the first Santa Fe, and that this community of San Gabriel is actually older than Santa Fe. And all that's there is this big horse along the side of the road. And then I saw a sign for the Cities of Gold Casino. And I go, Cities of Gold. This has got to be the place. So I stopped in at the hotel, got a room, went over to the casino, and the first video game that I saw when I walked in was Secrets of the Forest. Can you just see how this first trip to New Mexico is just a series of Vision Quest events? I mean, it's just a series of Vision Quest events. You know, of all the video games I would see, it was Secrets of the Forest. So I played that game, and I think I won enough. I know I won enough to go buy a $20 buffet for free because I won like $25 or $6. So I went to the buffet, and the fish was not fresh. The fish was not fresh. I was sick the next day. Or it was the fact that I hadn't become accustomed to red and green chili yet. It's one of the two. It could have been the red and green. Oh my God! It's the Who Hearted. It's the Who Hearted. I'm not talking about Forrest Fenn. I'm talking about driving around New Mexico aimlessly. I'm just talking about driving around New Mexico aimlessly. Hoof! Man, it's been a while since I've seen you, Hoof. Okay, my mother moved to a nursing home. Oh, sorry to hear that. We couldn't take care of her so well anymore, but she's doing well there. Well, that's good. My mom's going to turn 91 years old here on February 25th. And she's finally gotten to the point where she's saying that I don't know, maybe I should just move into the care facility. I don't know. So, yeah, dealing with the same thing here. She likes her independence, but I don't know. She's had other relatives live to be 94, 95, 96. So we'll see how it goes. I visited the nursing home that my grandmother was in the other day in Council Grove. I looked about the same, but my brother and I, our parents would take us down to see our grandma. We lost our grandfather on that side of the family a long time ago. I was probably 6 when he died. I don't have too many memories of him. But anyway, I have a memory of him sitting in this leather chair at their home, and there was a sofa over here, and they had this one rocking chair, and he was sitting there, and he might have been the guy that gave me the xylophone for Christmas that we haven't seen since I got it for Christmas, and that was 55 years ago. My dad didn't like us playing the xylophone, a noisemaker. Anyway, I think I remember him giving that to me as a child, and that was about it. That one Christmas there at that house. But just talking about him right now, I can smell the fuel oil from the open air heater that they had that heated their whole home, and how that smelled. And unless you've been in like a 2 or 3 room house that's 1,000 square feet and had one centralized open flame heater and smelled the actual aroma of that, you probably don't know what I'm talking about. But that combined with the fried chicken in the kitchen, I can feel myself there right now. I have the ability to remember how the house was laid out. I can just flash back to anyway. Some people can do that, but anyway, Haven't used the Who account in a few years. Well, I'm glad you broke it back out. I think you came up with that name so that I would say hoof and hearted fast. My parents gave me a full-size drum kit for Christmas. Oh, ho, ho! The holy grail of parental disruption, the drum. They were indeed very brave. Very brave. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Bruce Pearl. I think he was a famous drummer, wasn't he? He later became the lead drummer for Styx. Is Bruce Pearl a drummer? I gotta look that up. Oh, he's a basketball coach. Sorry. Wrong guy. Eddie Vedder. We'll just call you Eddie Vedder. How's that? Yeah. Oh, I was close. I was close. Neil Pearl or Peart was a drummer for Rush. There you go. I was close. I knew there was some. Well, I know that there's drums named Pearl, right? Anyway, time for that badump chink. Well, what do you say we put a wrap on this show? I finished it. I got that one down too. John Bonham was the best drummer. I tell you what, the drummer for Def Leppard, that guy was probably the best one-armed drummer I'd ever seen. And also a good PSA for how not to drive your car really, really fast. You have to admit Def Leppard's music changed a little bit after the car crash where he lost his arm. But it was still good, right? It was still good. All right, folks. I think that's going to conclude tonight's David Paisano show, where we focused on the Chad Bird treasure hunt or not treasure hunt, and a little extra time where we discussed worldly events. Ian wants to know, is there anything new within the Old Forest Fen mystery? Well, as I mentioned earlier, I am not putting myself through the daily grind of watching every YouTube video that comes out on Forest Fen, contributing in any meaningful manner to the Discord channels on Ben Knapple's platform or anybody else's Forest Fen platform, nor am I commenting on anybody's YouTube videos related to Forest Fen, or even watching them for the most part. So I am taking a sabbatical from Fun and Answers. I just am not looking at that content. I will scan YouTube on Forest Fen. I still search it. But if I don't see anybody new, and no offense to the people that still post on YouTube, And just, but if I don't see any new real idea, I just don't even look at it. I don't even click on it. I don't even play it. If it's coming from the same people who've told me their solves 50 times, or the same people that have told me I'm going to get fun and answers this year, I'm just not listening to it anymore because it never changes. Trusted Living says he sent a message. I fooled you, meddling kids. Yeah, so I apologize, Ian, for not having any information about that, but I'm just not putting myself through the daily battle of are these people going to make me feel bad about myself and being involved in the Forrest Finn treasure hunt? Uh, I mean, I peruse it, look at it. If it doesn't trigger my trigger, I don't even click on it. So that's the state of the chase as far as I'm concerned on that. You know, having Ben Apple tell me weekly that the holdup is the lawsuits, and then I can't find a damn lawsuit. Every time he says the lawsuit's holding things up, I'd go see if I could find a current or new lawsuit. Never could find one. Or maybe I'd find the same one that got continued. But yeah, I'm kind of off of that. Well, I don't know, Ian. I put an invite. I don't know if we can get a chat going or not. Uh, I think this is a live link. Uh, I'll see if anybody shows up. I will try to be over there. I think this is a live Discord link. And I'm going to click on the thing when I get done here and see if anybody's over there. But anyway, thanks again for Trusted Living's giving us the update. There's the update you're looking for. The Barbara lawsuit was canceled by the judge. So apparently Preston's not getting sued by the instigator in chief. On a sad note, the American pair skating team got fucked over by the French judge. And the quad god fell twice in his long program tonight. Why I watch skating? Don't ask me. I didn't even watch it. I just heard that it happened. Hey, Ian, do you get excited about the Olympic skiing events? Just wondering if you get excited about any of that. I have been away from the mystery for a few weeks and plan to stay away a lot more. No Discord for me. Well, that's the approach I'm trying to take, but I get drugged back in every now and then. Sparky wanted to talk one time. So the skiing on the Olympics doesn't excite you that much. I didn't know if it would or not. I just was kind of curious how that worked for you. I enjoy curling, not participating in curling, but I enjoy watching the strategy of curling. I used to like to play shuffleboard in college at the bar. That's that where you got this big long table and you zip the thing down to the end and you try and, get it on the end and hang it or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And so it reminds me of that game that I played a lot. All right, I'm jumping off. Oh, Ian's liking the curling. There you go. But I just can't imagine going downhill 80 miles an hour on a pair of skis. I get the willies in a closed car, driving 85, 90 miles an hour down the road. I couldn't imagine trying to go down a hill and negotiate a turn at that speed. I mean, seriously. Yeah, that'd be scary. No, don't jump. Okay, folks, I'm jumping off. I'll be back next week to talk about John Collins Black. And we'll have extra time. Until then, toodles.